Hello everyone, welcome to Eclectic Collecting. My name is Shauna and today we're going to be talking about why I've created this new channel. So as I said, this is a completely new YouTube channel. It is my first attempt at creating one, so apologies if we've got a little bit of a rough start. I'm sure I'll be learning as we go. But to introduce myself, as I said, my name is Shauna. I am 31 years old and I live in Massachusetts in the United States, and I've lived here my entire life. And I do think that those details are a little bit relevant because this channel is going to be focusing a lot on my relationship with media and sort of what I've been surrounded with my whole life. So I think having that context is kind of important. So I've created this channel because I've been a collector my whole life. I've always enjoyed surrounding myself with things that I like, that I love, that I have an emotional attachment to. And I've gotten to a point in my collecting where I feel like I'm ready to share it with other people who also enjoy it. So I would say that now as an adult, I have three main collections. So the first one is going to be the one that you can probably see behind me, and that would be anime merchandise. And that's the one that I'm going to be focusing on today. So I'll talk more about that in a second. My second one is books, and I feel like books is just such a broad genre that it's hard to kind of mean or know what you mean when you say you collect books. But I specifically mostly collect older books, like pre-1990, let's say, and especially older children's books. Both ones for really young, like picture books, but mostly like middle grade type, or what we would describe as middle grade now type books. And I think I really like those books because they are like a little time capsule, peering into what society was like at these different times that the books were written. What they thought was appropriate for children, what kinds of trouble did the kids get into in these books, and like what were their values and, their adventures and things like that. So I just really enjoy those older books, and you'll kind of see that that's a theme throughout sort of all of my collections. And my third main collection is my newest one, and it is depression glass. And if you've never heard of depression glass, that might seem like a totally bizarre thing, but depression glass is, it refers to the certain type of glass that was made in the United States during the Depression era. Now, my collection isn't strictly 100% Depression era. I have like late 1800s up to like mid 1900s, which some people do define all of that as depression glass, but anyways, it is this very kind of specific category of glass collecting. So if you've never heard of it, that's kind of a very basic overview. Now, as far as the books and depression glass go, I am 100% happy to bring those into these videos in the future if people are actually interested in them. I just didn't really think that people would be. So my idea was to focus on the anime, but please let me know in the comments if you want to hear or see examples of those other things that I was talking about. So how did I get started collecting anime? So as a kid born in the 90s in the United States, like many people, I watched a lot of anime on TV growing up. I would say my first anime were probably Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and then both Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I remember watching both of them when I was a kid. And of course, at the time, they were just shows that were on TV that I enjoyed. I watched them with my brother, sometimes with my dad. My mom, not so much. I do remember, like, when Pokemon first came out, like, trying to explain to her about Caterpie evolving into Metapod and sort of what that was like, and she was just like, okay, very cool. But for me, it was just, there was the video games, and there was the TV shows, and there was trading cards, and it was just something that I really enjoyed and that I shared as a hobby with my brother. I didn't really know that it was anime, probably, I would say, until like middle school. And by middle school, I wasn't as much into those things. I still enjoyed like the Pokemon video games, but I wasn't really like actively seeking anime until high school. So when I was like a sophomore in high school, I sort of rediscovered this whole category of shows that I used to enjoy as a kid. And I started by rewatching Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I decided I needed to watch the whole thing from beginning to end because I'd never seen all of it as a kid. So I did that, and as I watched Dragon Ball, I discovered that I really enjoyed it and that I liked the animation style and the humor and just like this sort of the whole thing all together. So at that point, I started talking to my brother about anime again, and we discovered that we both really enjoyed it. And this is kind of like a joke that I say, but I also actually really mean it. I like to say that anime saved the relationship between me and my brother. We're only 1 year apart, which can sometimes be a good thing, but when we were in middle school was definitely not a good thing. We did not have the best relationship in middle school, let's just say. And I would say that the turning point was probably when we both started watching anime and we had a new hobby and things in common to kind of discuss and share with each other. So along with that, when we were in high school, this was back in the day. If you remember, leave it down in the comments below. I believe we were Verizon customers at the time. There's a slight possibility it was Comcast, but I'm pretty sure it was Verizon. There used to be a Funimation TV channel back then. And sadly, we only got it for a few years, or at least I only saw it for a few years before it disappeared. But having that resource just completely opened up our world to these different anime. We were just watching like an episode or two of whatever was on. And while I wouldn't say most of the anime that we saw at that time stuck, one in particular did, and that was Yu Yu Hakusho, which was, of course, in a rerun. But they were showing new episodes of Yu Yu Hakusho every single morning at like 7 or 7:30 in the morning, which was right before we had to go to the bus. So me and my brother watched a new episode of Yu Yu Hakusho together every morning before school at some point around, I want to say like 2011-ish. And that has become one of our favorite anime of all time, and we really enjoyed it, and that's just like a core memory for me for that time. So I was solidly a fan of anime and sort of looking for new things to watch as I got into college. And it was at this time that I really started to discover that I enjoyed specifically older anime. And that started freshman year of college when I watched the original Gatchaman series from the 70s. And I just enjoyed kind of like the silliness and the janky animation and everything about it. Around that time, my dad also showed us some anime that he used to watch in the 60s, because apparently it's a hereditary nerdiness that I have. So we watched like Speed Racer and Kimba the White Lion, and right now we're even watching the original Astro Boy together as a family. So he got us into these old 60s shows. I was watching a lot of 70s shows kind of on my own, and I discovered that I just really liked those more older vintage TV series. After college, that's when I started watching more with my brother and one of our friends, and we started around COVID time by watching Sailor Moon together. This is important. It's a major turning point in my little history here. So we decided to watch the original 90s Sailor Moon anime. My brother and I had never seen it. My friend had seen a handful of episodes of the original 90s dub, which, is an experience in and of itself. But we watched a modern translation of the entire original Sailor Moon show. And we really liked it. We had a lot of fun with it. It was silly and we loved the fashion and we just had a great time. But after I watched Sailor Moon, I discovered that you could search eBay and find all kinds of merchandise that went along with it. That there was just an explosion of Sailor Moon merchandise. And I discovered that I really enjoyed collecting it. So that was kind of new to me because I had collected stuff, merchandise before. I had gone to conventions and bought keychains and posters and, plushes and stuff like that before. But with Sailor Moon specifically, I was looking at animation or merchandise that came out at the time the show was airing. So it wasn't new stuff, it was stuff from the 90s. And something about that really appealed to me. And I think it's the same reason why I enjoy the old books. It was like I was seeing myself as a kid enjoying this show in the 90s and seeing what kind of toys and products I would have surrounded myself with. So at that point, not only was I now into these older anime, but I was also into collecting what I call vintage anime merchandise. And by vintage, what I mean is it either was produced at the time the show came out originally, or if the show had some sort of later resurgence in popularity, but still, 20 or 30 plus years ago, then I also consider that vintage. So I would say the vast majority of my collection is pre-2010. I would even say pre-2005. Almost everything that I actually actively collect is pre-2005, with a couple minor exceptions. Most of it's even older than that. I would say Sailor Moon is probably the one that I have the most stuff for, just because it's so accessible, but I am sort of seeking out these other series as well. So now we've gone through how I got here today. Now, why am I creating a YouTube channel about it? Well, I have 3 main reasons for that. So number one, this is just a way that I want to enjoy my collection. I just want to share it with others. So I enjoy talking. I enjoy hearing from other people. So I'm hoping that, you know, we'll be able to create a community sort of around a shared hobby. Number 2 is that I want to learn more from others. So I'm sure there are tons of collectors who are more knowledgeable than I am, and I have a lot of questions about some of the stuff that I own that I don't know when it came out, where it came out, its purpose, like all that stuff. So I'm hoping that we'll get some people out here who are able to help me kind of explain what I have. And then the third reason is a very sort of personal one, but it's to help me stay a little bit more organized with my collection. So I do have a tendency at this point to kind of lose track of the things that I have, or even though I know I have them, I feel like I'm not appreciating them all the time. Some of them are put away in storage, and I just thought that sharing things with people would be a really great way for me to enjoy my stuff as well, and just like take a moment to really appreciate the things that I have. I am still adding to my collection. It has definitely slowed down over the last few years, but you know, mostly because I'm just trying to like save money for other things, not because I don't enjoy collecting it. But anyways, I thought that the rest of this video, we could just do a quick shelf tour of the things that you see behind me. On the shelves behind me, I would say I have probably a little bit more than 50% of my anime collection on display. At least in the terms of volume. I do have some of my larger things on display here. So definitely over 50% in terms of volume. So just so that you guys can see what kinds of franchises are represented in my collection, what kinds of items, and you can see if you are interested in sticking around to hear more. All right, here we go. So I hope you guys are ready for a informal shelf tour. I am kind of more into the informal, casual style videos, so this will be a little bit of a taste of that. So I thought we would start with this shelf right here, mostly because it is the simplest to go through. So here I do have a little bit of my book collection. These are my Dr. Seuss books. I do have, well, I have one coming on the way from eBay, but I do believe I have every single children's book that Dr. Seuss wrote. So I'm very proud of my Dr. Seuss collection. It's like the main picture books that I collect. But anyways, moving on from that. So here's our first thing. This is a Sailor Moon like snow cone machine. So there's like a blade in there, and you crank the handle, and it shaves ice so that you can enjoy a snow cone. So as I said, Sailor Moon just has so much merchandise, and in particular, I enjoy this kind of like household gadget kind of thing that they had a lot of in Sailor Moon, and you'll see a couple more of these as we go. Moving over here, so on the shelf down here, I have some empty boxes that are just in storage. The things are on display elsewhere, but next to them, I actually have something that is not an anime. This is from the Thunderbirds series, the original one from the 60s. So if you've never heard of Thunderbirds, it was a British show. It wasn't even animated, it was marionette puppets. So this is another 60s show that my dad introduced me and my brother to, and I really enjoyed it. So I do have a few collectibles of the Thunderbirds. Now, these are not from the 60s, these are from the 90s, because Thunderbirds had a big resurgence in popularity in the United States, and it also had a surge of popularity in Japan at that time. So even though it's not anime, it is still a like vintage collectible kind of thing that I include. So I do have them set up over here. Next to this, I've got my Sailor Moon plushes. So these are specifically just Sailor Moon plushes. I have quite a few kind of jammed in there. I need to find a better way to store them. And I have all different kinds of sets and series of things there, so I will definitely be going through that in future videos. Also this little Magic Knight Ray Earth t-shirt. That would not fit me even close, but it's so cute, I just love it. Coming up here, we've got some desk calendars. So I do really enjoy collecting calendars, I think because you get like multiple pieces of artwork in one thing. I do have a lot of wall calendars elsewhere, but here's some of my desk calendars. These, I believe, are stamps. They're Magic Knight Rare little stamps. I haven't actually taken them out of the boxes, but that is what I believe they are. Sailor Moon coin bank, Sailor Moon bubble bath solution, and like a sleepover set. And then these little guys are from a show that was called Sherlock Hound in English. The Japanese title was just like famous detective Sherlock Holmes, but he was a dog, so Sherlock Hound in English. And then again, not an anime, but a little Star Trek pencil, another older show that my dad got me into, and he gave me that pencil. It's from the 90s, I think, when one of the movies came out. Moving on, over here, we've got some study sets. So we've got Sailor Moon study sets, Magic Knight Rare. This is a accessory that goes with some of the smaller Sailor Moon dolls. We've got Cardcaptor Sakura keychain where she's wearing her rollerblades, which is one of my favorite things. Back here, this is a pin collection, so like enamel pins of Sailor Moon. I believe I have all the original pins that came in this collection, so I'll definitely be showing that in the future. Here, these are vinyl coin banks featuring Tatsunoko characters from the 70s, so you can see the slot there. Now, even though these shows are all from the 70s originally, these banks are actually from the 90s, so again, like, one of those things where it got popular and a lot of merchandise was created at a different time. But we have Gatchaman, Hurricane Polymer, and Casher. We've got some Cardcaptor Sakura, like finger puppets or small figurines, and a Sailor Moon album where you could keep like little cards and things like that. Here, so this is actually one of the most modern series that I collect, and it is Hikaru no Go. So that's from the early 2000s. I've got these clocks here, these teacups as well from Hikaru no Go. And then here we've got some music stuff. So we've got some cassettes, some Sailor Moon cassettes, and then some mini CDs. So there's some Sailor Moon ones. There's Cardcaptor Sakura, Cyber Formula, Future Grand Prix, and then this one's Magic Knight Rare, and it is so cute. It's like a little keychain that holds the mini CD with the mocha nut in the center. It's very cute. Here we've got another Hikaru no Go keychain, and then this is from Minky Momo, from the 80s Minky Momo series, and it is a popcorn machine where you make the popcorn in a little thing that looks like her truck. And I have not seen all of the original Minky Momo series by any means, but some of the products that go along with it were just so adorable, and I got this for a really good deal, so I just could not pass it up. Down here, we've got other types of media. So we have VHS tapes here. We've got Dirty Pair, Gunbuster, Sherlock Hound, Tekkamon, Sailor Moon, and Dragon Ball. And then here, this is a DVD, which is, you know, a very hip and modern thing that I don't usually collect, but it is of Cat's Eye, which is an 80s series. At the time when I bought this, I was hoping that it came with like a booklet or a magazine or something, and I don't think it ended up having what I wanted, but I still thought it was like a cool kind of collectible cover. Next to this, we also have this box, which I keep full of like magazines and books and like art books and stuff like that. And then also vinyl records. So, oh no, that's not even an anime one. Nat King Cole made an appearance. I don't usually mix my anime and non-anime, but he got in there somehow. And I do listen to my records, so I have my record player right here. So I enjoy that. So I'll definitely go through this box another time. Up here, let's see, we've got a bunch of little things in this kind of old first aid case. We've got Magic Knight Rare little figures. We've got a puzzle. Again, more like household gadgets featuring Sailor Moon. Up here, we've got Yu Yu Hakusho figures and a Prince of Tennis little finger puppet. Again, Prince of Tennis, one of those like 2000 series that I do enjoy as well. Sailor Moon finger puppets, and then this one's actually not a finger puppet, but a pencil sharpener. And up on top, we've got Hurricane Polymer, Sailor Moon postery thing, and then two Narus. I have this thing with collecting Naru stuff, so if you love Naru Osaka as much as I do, please leave it down in the comments below. This shelf we have, so this is called the Moon Castle. It's like a play set. I only have the Sailor Moon figure. I don't have her friends to go with her, but someday I would like to get them. These are actually bootleg figurines. I believe they're called Sailor Sweetie. I don't like specifically collect bootleg stuff, but these ones I actually got by like accident. But anyways, that can be a story for another day. But sometimes I do grab the bootleg stuff if it's, you know, cheap and interesting. Dragon Ball, so this is a video game for the Famicom or the Japanese version of the Nintendo. We've got some Cardcaptor Sakura dolls back there. More like Sailor Moon play sets. These ones are complete. It's a real shining crown in my collection to have the complete ones of those. Some more video games, Yu-Gi-Oh! Little guys here, and some playing card sets for Sailor Moon and Magic Knight Rayearth. Here we've got Thunderbirds showing up again, so we've got the Thunderbirds, 4 of the 5 vehicles. Again, 90s. We've got 2 Sailor Moon clocks. I love clocks. I think that they're so pretty. I love them. I think this one keeps time if you put in a battery, although the hands get kind of stuck, so I don't have it keeping time right now. This one I don't think it does, and I don't think either of them talk or sing like they're supposed to, unfortunately, but they are still really beautiful. And then here I've got this thing that I was hitting with my hand earlier. It's like a rack to display like jewelry or something small at like a show. And I've got keychains on it. So right now I don't have tons of just regular keychains on this side. I do have more that I just have to put out. But here I do have my Sailor Moon miniature keychain plush collection. So that's there. I will continue filling that in over time. And then last but not least, so we have 2 shelves, or the shelf and on top, of dolls and figures. So I've got my Sailor Moon dolls here, different sizes, the 6-inch and the 11.5-inch. We've got a Magic Knight Rayearth doll here, and some of the clothing sets that would go with her. This Luna P little like box that like talks and lights up, and I love it so much. And then here we've got 2 Dragon Ball Z little action figure guys. So we've got Gohan and Goku, and this Goku belonged to a family friend when we were kids, and so I've been playing with this Goku since I was like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 years old. So he is, you know, tried and true friend here, and a little bit worse for wear, but I enjoy having him here with the rest of my collection. And up on top, we've got Dirty Pair. These 2 are Dirty Pair. We've got Yu Yu Hakusho Banks. Cutie Honey, so from Cutie Honey Flash, the 90s version. It's really hard to get 70s Cutie Honey stuff. I would love to, but for now I gotta deal with the 90s stuff. Magic Knight Rayearth figure, Creamy Mommy, and down here are Cat's Eye figures. So that is a general overview of what I've got out on display. If you saw anything that you want to see up close, to me to do like a video specifically focusing on, please leave it in the comments down below. And if you liked this video and you want to know more and see more from me in the future, please like, subscribe, comment, whatever. I really want us to build this community, so I hope that we can do that. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope that I see you in the next one.